Self-help in under 5 minutes. Okay. When people ask what I do for a living, I tell them I build containers because I think that in a safe space that promotes growth. That is you, or a flower, or something living, and that thing is growing. Look at it. But we all have cracked containers because of abuse, dysfunctional relationships, trauma. No child enters adulthood unscarred, right? So some more than others, but we all have a form of cracks in our container. Now, if we don't fix our container, what happens is we we fall over. That is us dying. That is us not being able to breathe. And because of that, there is no growth because our container is cracked, and no growth means us leading to coping with our vices, addiction, love, sex, drugs, gambling, work, shopping, whatever your addiction is. And this leads to more cracks in the container and no growth, and it's a cycle. So in order to break that cycle, self-help really means building yourself a brand new, sparkling, shining container. Look at that. Okay, so in order to do that, you need to have some tools, and it starts with transparency. And I don't mean verbally vomiting on someone. Transparency means to be vulnerable, practice vulnerable, complete honesty with yourself, and accepting your story. And the more you do this, like a muscle, transparency, as you practice it, gets stronger and stronger. So you start off with a wrench, then a hammer. The goal is to eventually have a power tool, have a power drill. So once you have these tools and you start practicing transparency, then you can now build yourself a container. That is you with a power drill building this container. And this is what I call stance, having a stance. And under stance we have non-negotiables, things you're not willing to negotiate about yourself, in relationships, about your life, okay? Most people negotiate themselves a lot. Boundaries. Drawing your boundaries with Sharpie and not chalk. Unlocking your code. Unlocking your code has to do with this idea that the truest version of ourselves is when we were much younger, before advertising and social pressure and our own false beliefs have turned us into the miserable beings we are today. And so we at some point have locked ourselves into a box. And I think whether it's you or society, you have as you grow up, you lock yourself into a box. So unlocking your code is unlocking this little combination and pulling that person out, because in that box is a part of your truth. Okay? And so this person needs to be heard. So part of stance is unlocking that thing and pulling the truest version of you out. For me, it was like around a 10. That's me breakdancing, when I didn't care what people thought and I was doing my thing and I was the happiest. So as we do this, we start building this container, this force field. And in this container we have support. We have to have a support system, which is friends, families, coworkers, your top 5 people you trust. Then we need structure, and people think structure means work. No, structure, it can, but it also means self-care. And under self-care, we have 6 needs that you need to take care of yourself. Needs, not wants, okay? Like water and food and sleep. There's mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, financial, and sexual. Everyone focuses on the financial piece, their financial need, and it's off balance. So we need these needs, we need to balance them. That's part of self-care. And as you practice transparency and having a stance and all of this stuff we talk about, being heard, pulling that little person out of the box, balancing and having self-care, you start building this container, a solid one. And look at, you're up now, you're happy. Wait, look at that smile, and you're growing. And it's like riding a bike. It's not a one-time thing. You have to constantly do these things. Transparency, and the more transparency, the more you have the ability to practice transparency, and the stronger your muscles get, the bigger and the more tools you have to have a stance, right? The non-negotiables and drawing boundaries, etc. And as you have that, it's easier to have a support structure, self-care, and then a stronger container. So that's how you grow. If you have any questions, meet me here, theangrytherapist.com. 4 minutes and 56 seconds.